this morning?
Wonderful.
Nice beautiful morning on the farm.
Yes, yeah.
So we're going to talk about Kundalini. What is it? And why is it so complex?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's this misconception about that, some crazy thing that if you have some Kundalini experience, like you might go crazy. Or you could have like outer body experience, which some people might actually want.
Or you see like on videos and stuff, people wearing all white with like white. Yeah.
Hey, we combine us, we're wearing all white. What's wrong with that?
But like just these different, you look at it and it just seems like a very structured thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the Kundalini tradition of Yogi Bhajan, that's what they do. I'm a Kundalini teacher. I'm certified in Kundalini. I like to make it a lot simpler when I teach a class. I like to bring, because there's so much beauty in it. There's so much magic in the Kundalini yoga, but it does scare people away. Like even my students will go, yeah, I went to a Kundalini class when I was traveling somewhere with my sister, and it's like, it was freaky. And it is, it's intense. It's very structured and it's very intense, but if you're into it, there's a lot of goodness in it. But I like to make it a lot simpler in my classes because there's so much. So I like to create that bridge. So I don't wear the white, all white and all that, but it's all good. But Kundalini itself is not Kundalini yoga. And I think there's a misconception right there that Kundalini is Kundalini yoga. It's not. Kundalini's been, it's a Sanskrit term meaning coiled snake, right? Okay. It's been around forever. And if you look at the caduceus, the symbol on my shirt, that's the Kundalini symbol. You Google Kundalini symbol, you Google medical symbol, you get the same thing. So this is basically the symbol of life and health. And it's got the chakras and it's got the Kundalini. So, but there is this huge misconception of like Kundalini being bad or bad luck, right?
Yeah.
Like you hear that,
Yep.
you know?
Yeah, like people want to avoid it or, there's a lot of fear.
Yeah, there's a fear around it, which is unfortunate because what Kundalini actually is it's our essence, it's our life force energy. Kundalini Shakti is basically life force energy. Like that's an inherent gift in this life. It's how we experience life. So the more Kundalini energy you have, the more vibrance and energy you're going to have in your life. That's the magic of it. So it's really a very, very powerful tool. And I like to say, like people say, well, Kundalini awakening, though, isn't that something that's, you know, this thing that you have to spend 30 years of meditation for? Like I've seen that. And even in my training, I love my teachers, by the way, they were explaining it like that. And I'm like, well, wait a minute here. It's not that big of a deal. If you've experienced bliss when you listen to music, like you get that radiance and that joy, or where you're dancing, hip hop, whatever, it doesn't matter what it is. If you're feeling that energy rush come through, you feel your hair stands up and you feel literally the like crown of your head, that's a Kundalini energy awakening. That's literally it. Now there's different scales of it. As it moves through the chakras, it's felt differently. So most of us are in the lower chakras. We're in basic awareness, which is the first chakra. We're in the sort of emotions and sensual and the feelings, that's the second chakra. We're in the self, the ego, that's the third chakra. So we're kind of all down there. So we have those experiences of Kundalini energy at those levels.
That makes sense.
Right? Like that like drive, that self, like, yes, I got to get this done. That's like third chakra Kundalini awakening.
Okay.
You know, does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally does.
Yeah. But then when we get up into our higher chakras, like our heart, we're like, you know, your heart's wide open. You just feel this love and this connection and this sort of communal, like everything's sort of feeling for everything. That's the heart. And then we get up into the throat, and that's our expression. We really want to express ourselves. We want to sing. We want to open, release. And then now when you get up to the third eye point, when we get up to like this point, that's where the wings start showing and all this crazy stuff. Third eye, pineal and pituitary gland, literally glands in our body. This is all related to, it's all related to the endocrine system. When that thing activates, then you literally have this awakening that's where you start to have visions, download information. I had it for 2 weeks where I couldn't sleep. I had an awakening for 2 weeks straight where I just downloaded. I pretty much wrote a book and a theory and everything on it.
Okay, so then that's how the different levels kind of work out. You can have the, like, maybe the sensation of music, and so that's the Kundalini energy moving through. But maybe the fear comes when people are having more of the higher level ones, and they're not even, they don't have somebody teaching them this stuff. So then they're like, what is happening? And their world as they know it no longer makes sense.
That's the biggie.
Okay.
I mean, I would say literally that most people in like mental wards or inpatient stuff are have Kundalini awakenings up here, and they have no ground for it. They have no understanding of what it is. So their whole cultural worldview is in chaos because everything they believe in, which is all lower chakras. Literally, if you're in a traditional mindset, married with kids, family, job, that's what you do to be happy, and you're not happy, and then all of a sudden you have this release up here, then it's crazy.
Like going to work makes no sense. It feels like we're
nothing makes sense. I mean, people want to leave their spouse and leave their kids and do, who knows?
Right.
And I've seen it. I've seen it with a lot of my students, and that's the scary part. It's not the actual energy; it's the awareness. It's the lack of awareness of what it is, and that's key. It's so important, and that's why we can't make it this thing that's so unattainable that it takes 30 years of meditation to achieve. We need to make it real.
That's a great point.
I mean,
so that we do have these, because like in the mental health field, like I will talk to people, and I right away I'm like, if this were somebody who didn't know this information, they'd be thinking like psychotic, psychosis, medication, inpatient, like there's some of these, but when you understand like, okay, this is an energetic thing that they're not grounded, and it's more like, go spend time in nature, go dig your feet into the dirt or something like that, like just go home and do your daily routine. Keep
your root chakras nice and strong. So that's the key. When you have that awakening up here, which is the upper triangle, everything from the heart up is the upper triangle and the chakras, everything from the heart down is the lower triangle, the heart connects the two. You want to keep that lower triangle grounded, keep your job, keep your spouse, keep your kids, you know, just like stay in that world while you're still having this. Wanderlust, that like traveling is fine. I love it. It's great. Being free is great. That's why the wings are here. But when we overly do that, we're like a balloon that we've let go of the string and we're just floating along in space. Like, okay, well, where are we going to end up? And then when that balloon runs out of air, what happens? It's in an unknown, it's in a scary position. So, so keeping those lower chakras grounded, strengthening the lower triangle is so huge. And the upper triangle at the same time, right? Not going, and knowing also the chakras, we'll talk about that in another video, but knowing what those all represent, and knowing that Kundalini energy is like literally, it's our inherent gift. It's our, when we get into it, and we practice it, so we can practice it through yoga, breath. Kundalini yoga is it for that, but it is so up here. But they, like, if you know the whole tradition, they totally talk about the grounding and the upper, make sure everything's balanced. But music's another really powerful tool. Drugs can create the experience and really create it, like that can offset stuff. Like people do like ecstasy or whatever, and then they have that blow up, and then it's hard to figure it. So that's not really the best way to do it. You can have the same experience that you do with drugs through breathing and meditation, through breath work. Right?
In a very grounded way.
In a very grounded way, where you're safe. That's the shamanic or the transcendental breath work that we teach. It literally takes you to that point. Full DMT release, same thing. So grounding, like having the ground, having the upper, enjoy it. But when you get that energy moving and that energy's flowing in your life, that's the joy, that's the radiance, that's the bliss. That's where like sensations, like anything, like music or food or flavor, or like intimacy, sex, orgasms are like, whoa, it's so much more. That's our gift of life coming through us through that Kundalini awakening energy. So it's such a beautiful, powerful thing. Love it. What else? Anything else?
I don't know. I mean, I think that this is why this stuff is so important, because it's a reality. It's out there, whether like if this is all new to you or if this is something you have been studying, but the practical implications of like going from somebody being psychotic to this understanding, like that's a total life shift for somebody. And and to be able to have this understanding, that's what we're passionate about, is giving you guys this information so that you can be the director of your own life, and to be able, like Brian said, like the gift of utilizing that energy just makes life so much more colorful.
And it's our gift, and it's our medicine too.
Yeah,
there's so much healing in it. There's so much, the biggest, the challenge, the big struggles we have are depression, anxiety, trauma, fear. They're all the same. They're all symptoms of a deeper cause, and that cause is separation. It's our ego. It's subjective, objective duality, separation. But when we get that Kundalini awakening and we hit, guess what? When these two snakes come together, bang, at the third eye point, there's no separation. That's pure union. Heart is connecting with everything. But when you get to that third eye, that's where everything unifies. That's the healing body. That's the full expression of healing. A lot of what I teach is the energy body, and that's really bringing the energy through. And when we're an energy body, or when our meditative mind, all this stuff takes place and makes so much more sense. Yeah. That's why practice is key. Yeah. Like daily practice. In this world, daily practice is a must. There's no way around it. There really isn't. You can't live a life and not do something daily to activate this energy in us, to get in the meditative mind, to activate the energy body. If we're not doing that, we're going to be pulled back into that rut every single time. And from
another way to look at it almost is like when you're in that meditative mind, like your vibrancy, like scientifically measurable, your energetic level,
frequency,
yes, that's right, is higher, and your inflammation would be lower. Like it brings you to more of like an alkaline, like that's a physical thing that is so, like you said, healing. So there's all these different things. It's like, that's what I love about all of it, is there's such an overlap, like you were saying, like the chakras with the endocrine system and the systems, and so it's not too far out there. Like this is all over related. I love it.
We haven't even mentioned the vagus nerve.
Right.
I mean, that's ridiculous. Like the science and the study of the vagus nerve and vagal tone, which is literally, that's the Eden Pingala channel, is basically the vagus nerve. Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing, and you can go totally scientific on this. Yep. And we'll probably do a video on this where it's like vagus nerve. You raise that vagal tone, and you're able to handle stress. Like the stressful situation comes in, trauma. Whoa, you're fine. You're in that meditative mind. You're in that parasympathetic. The higher your vagal tone is, and when you have a high vagal tone, it also releases the post-traumatic stress from past occurrences. So that's the healing body. That's the energy body, because the vagus nerve connects with everything. So when we have that energetic experience of the awakening energy, it's that nerve and everything connected to it.
I think of it like a hose, like it's a clear hose or a clear pipe that just allows the energy to freely flow, so that you can really feel and sense everything.
Channel, clear channel. So hopefully that helps with what Kundalini is. It's not some freaky thing. No. It's something that's totally awesome. I want to talk about something. Kundalini.
We could talk about this forever.
Sorry, we're getting into it.
I love it. Yeah.
So Kundalini Bad Luck. So I'll have someone come to me,
good point,
and they'll be like, okay, I'm doing this Kriya you're giving me, or this practice, and now all this shit's happening in my world. Like a dog bit me, or this happened, and it's like, oh, I thought this was gonna heal me and save me. And it's like, no, you gotta work through what is in your closet. You're turning that light on, and it's revealing all that stuff in your subconscious that you're hiding. So we can't just magically leapfrog over our challenges. We have to work through them. Yep. And that's like, that'd be spiritual bypassing, to think like, oh, I can just start doing my work and forget about my problems and they're going to go away. Right. No, you have to address them. They're energies in your life for a reason. And so when you do the Kundalini Kriya, you do the awakening stuff, you're awakening that energy. It's like turning a flashlight on in your subconscious of the things that are holding you back. And that's where Kundalini Bad Luck comes from. I have so many students say, it's not helping me, it's hurting me. And it's like, that's part of the process. You have to work through the pain. If you don't work through the pain and say you go, I'm eliminating this thing from my life, you're just putting it back in your shadow, by the way. It's going to come back in some other way, shape, or form. It's not going to go away. So the light is ahead of us, and we need to focus on those challenges when they come. Be like water, understand them.
And it reminds me a lot of like even like the spiritual alchemy course that we have, is understanding like Kundalini Bad Luck might feel like bad luck, but really it is a gift that we're given to be able to cut those cords of those things holding us back so that we can be free of them.
Yeah. And the beautiful part of it is you really don't have to take action. All you have to do is do the practice, keep expanding your light, keep focusing on the positive, keep raising your vibration, and it's like the universe takes care of it by itself. I've seen it. That's happened to me so many times, where the message or the meaning from whatever you need to overcome will somehow surface naturally. And that's when it's done. That's like, yep, that's it. That's why we're all about the breath, because the breath raises our frequency, and then it allows us to see things from a higher state, higher frequency, and then that meaning comes out. All challenge is opportunity for growth.
Yeah. And that's the believe part of the breathing believe, like the believing that this is here for a reason, like everything is working out in your favor, like it is making you stronger. The second you start questioning it and you start like having fear and you start minimizing, I don't know, then it's like it's going to just be harder for you, or you're going to end up back where you were, and then those same challenges will keep coming until you learn to finally face them, so the believing part is big
breathe
too.
Breathe and believe. Dedication to that daily practice. It's all there. There's really no excuse. The information's there. But is it there? Do you have that information? That's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing.
We're trying to make this as simple as possible.
And we're in a society or in a time where we just want to take a pill. We want something easy to fix it. And look around, like it's not working.
It's not working.
So, but the beautiful thing is you'll get to a point where even going through the hard stuff, you begin to see that part of the journey as enjoyable too, because you'll begin to start seeing like the momentum, and that feels amazing. It's kind of like any kind of, like if you plan a trip, like yes, there's this destination, but a lot of times it's just as fun getting there. Like you look back and you're like, oh, like the excitement and the buildup of it all, even though it's work, but that's kind of the same thing. Like it becomes a very holy time.
Yeah. And I also like when, because we're never free of the challenges, they still come up.
Great point.
Like even in our lives, like we talked about it yesterday, like I had some reasons to being down, like this physical thing in my stomach right now is just like bringing me down. I'm like, but I still feel good. I still am in my parasympathetic. I still, overall, I feel good about it. And just challenges in general, knowing and seeing that the challenge is when you overcome that challenge. So something will bring you down and you're like, oh no, the world's coming to an end and my life sucks. But having that belief that, wait a minute, if I work through this, I'm going to end up on top. And that this is actually an opportunity, the stepping stone for my own growth. It's a constant process. This doesn't end. It's evolution.
And then from the back to like the biological standpoint, each time we do that, that's another way to strengthen like the vagal nerve, and to do that, to make that stronger. So then when you finally get to that point of like feeling good, you feel it at a even elevated level than what you would have before. So everything just, like I said, like more colorful. It's just more delicious, And
build the resilience. Awesome. So that's Kundalini. I hope we made it simple. It is simple. It's pretty basic stuff. But stay tuned, because we're going to give you a practice for accessing and develop, or many practices for developing that energy in us. Feeling the radiance, feeling the bliss, feeling the joy. It's as simple. Everything's simple with us. We're doing this for you to make it as simple as possible in your life, so that you can be like, whoa, life is about bliss and radiance. Bliss is a breath away. Breathe and believe.